My family treated me like an afterthought and refused to support my dreams, but when I became wealthy, they suddenly acted like they had always been there for me until I reminded them of the truth. I never thought I'd be the one they'd come crawling to. Not after everything they put me through. But life has a funny way of flipping the script, doesn't it? Growing up, I was the black sheep of the family, always the one overlooked, the one expected to give without expecting anything in return. My mother, Ruth, had an uncanny ability to make me feel like an afterthought. My older sister, Melanie, was the golden child. She got the best clothes, the newest gadgets, and all the praise, while I was stuck with hand-me-downs and second-hand love. My father? He was there, but he might as well have been a ghost. He never intervened, never defended me, never cared enough to see the injustice happening under his own roof. I remember birthdays where Melanie would get lavish gifts, a new phone, expensive jewelry, a designer bag. Me? A pair of socks. Christmas was the same story. They always had an excuse, money is tight, or Melanie really needed this for school. But somehow, the finances were never too tight when it came to her. When I turned 18, I wanted to go to college, but my mother shut that down quickly. You should get a job and help out the family instead of chasing dreams you'll never reach, she said with a scoff. Meanwhile, they drained every resource to send Melanie to an expensive university out of state. I was expected to work, to contribute, to be grateful for a roof over my head. And I was, until I wasn't. One day, I packed my things and left. I had saved up just enough from my part-time job at the gas station to get a bus ticket out of town. I slept in shelters at first, then found a cheap room to rent after getting a job at a local diner. Life wasn't easy, but at least I was free. I worked my way up from a dishwasher to a cook. Then I started managing shifts. Every spare dollar I had went into self-education. I read every business book I could get my hands on, watched free online courses, and networked with people who had done what I aspired to do. Eventually, I landed a job as a junior sales rep at a tech company. The pay wasn't great, but I was relentless. I worked harder than anyone, stayed late, studied the industry inside and out, and soon I was closing deals my senior colleagues couldn't. Within 3 years, I had saved enough to start my own small business, a digital marketing firm. The first year was rough, but I pushed through. I took risks. I reinvested every penny. And then, something incredible happened. One of my strategies went viral, bringing in millions of views for a client. Word spread, and suddenly, I wasn't just surviving, I was thriving. Fast forward 5 years, and I wasn't just rich, I was wealthy. My business exploded, and I expanded into consulting. I bought a penthouse, drove a car I once dreamed of, and traveled the world. For the first time in my life, I didn't have to justify my worth to anyone. Then, out of the blue, I got a call. My mother. At first, I thought it was an accident. Maybe she dialed the wrong number. But no, she was calling to check on me. Sweetheart, it's been so long. We miss you, she gushed, as if the past had never happened. I didn't buy it. Not for a second. Then came the sob story. My father had passed away, I felt nothing, and Melanie had fallen on hard times. She lost her job, my mother said, voice thick with feigned emotion. She has 2 kids to feed. We were thinking maybe you could help? I almost laughed. Help? After years of being treated like a second-class citizen in my own family? After they threw me away the moment I was no longer useful? I played along at first. Oh, that's terrible, I said. How much do you need? There was a pause, like they weren't expecting me to be so open. Then my mother cleared her throat. Well, if you could spare maybe 20,000? Just to help Melanie get back on her feet. I chuckled. 20,000? That's a lot of money. She quickly added, we'll pay you back. You know we would if we could. I leaned back in my chair, staring at the city skyline through my penthouse windows. Oh, you mean like how you helped me when I needed it? Like how you supported me? Silence. Then, she stammered, that was different. We did the best we could. I shook my head. No, You did the best you could for Melanie. For me? You did nothing. There was an awkward pause before she sniffled. So you're just going to abandon your family? After everything we've done for you? That's when I laughed. Everything you've done for me? You mean the years of neglect? The way you made me feel worthless? How you sent Melanie to college and told me I wasn't good enough? No, Mom. I think you abandoned me a long time ago. She tried to argue, to manipulate, but I wasn't that desperate kid anymore. I had built myself from the ground up, and I owed them nothing. Before hanging up, I gave her one last gift, the truth. You only called because I have money now. You didn't care when I had nothing. And that's how I know this isn't about love, it's about greed. You made your choice years ago. Now I'm making mine. Then I blocked her number. The last thing I needed in my life was people who only saw me as a wallet. For years, they had dismissed me, belittled me, used me. But now, the tables had turned. And I was finally free.